Howdy folks, and welcome back to the Sleep Token series, and we've arrived at the end of EP2. We are back in 2017, and I thought that today might be a good chance that before we get to the end of EP2 that we had a bit of a recap, and also just a little reminder that everything that I'm talking about today, everything that I've said so far in all of my videos could be absolute bollocks, and that is the beauty of Sleep Token, that we don't know the story. We've been presented interviews and tidbits, and we have been given clues and all of this stuff. This is something that has been deliberately fabricated, as Will Graham says in Hannibal.
This is my design.
This is the author's design. Now, I often talk about the author, Vessel, the man behind the mask. You know, a man wrote this. Guitar, piano, mask in his pants, underpants. For the Americans. Just imagine Rick Mail in the Halloween episode of Bottom. Big Y fronts. Not sexy, because trust me, we all write our best songs in our pants. And I know it's sad, we're reaching the end of EP2, and that's really disappointing, because we don't have much left after this. Only the 4 fucking albums to get through. So let's go back to the beginning. Released on December 2nd, 2016, the EP1, which started with the song Thread the Needle. Kind of a false start, trying to thread the needle over and over again. Maybe the conception of this relationship being difficult, being convoluted, but eventually that needle is thread and the apple is offered to us, or indeed the seed is offered to us, which then on the second song from EP1, that seed is planted in fields of elation, quiet and loamy, where this relationship between a vessel and a god, a man and a deity, is beginning to blossom. Again, this is all my interpretation. These songs are often written as love songs. These are written to a person that the author, the man behind the mask, has held a relationship with. But there is lore here as well. There is a greater story as well. So when those seeds are planted in fields of elation, we are led to believe that this is the relationship between the man, the vessel, and the deity, Sleep, coming together. And then we get to when the bow breaks. And the bow here is important because if you look at it from a Jungian perspective, as I often talk about, I believe that so much of this is rooted in Jungian psychology, the battle of the shadow against the ego to build the essential self, and that you have to embrace the darkness. And indeed, Vessel even says in early interviews that this is a way of teaching people about their dark side. It is a way of spreading the word of sleep, which indeed could be a call to arms for people to come together and worship a god, but it could also be an internal battle that this man is going through. That sleep isn't necessarily a deity as it exists in the lore, but perhaps exists inside himself, that he is the bow. And when we get to when the bow breaks, we get lyrics really from inside, from sleep, if you like, talking back, that I may have to break you. Don't lie to me. I just need you to not lie to me. Give yourself entirely to me. We'll get to that with the story of the walls of Jericho in a moment. So before we get into the religious aspect of Jericho, I just want to say there are 2 ways I'm going to look at this, both a religious interpretation with the walls of Jericho and then a more historical, archaeological idea behind Jericho. And the only reason that I'm taking both of these tacks is if I know this, then the author knows this. The man behind the mask is far more educated and far more well-versed in creating music than I will ever be. And I've worked with some brilliant people, but fuck me, this is next level shit. So let's dive in to the religious thing. The Israelites, led by Moses. You'll know him, parting of the water, big, hairy, looked like God. Moses is responsible for leading God's chosen people, the Israelites, through the wilderness for 40 years. 40 years! And part of the reason why that happens is the Israelites keep fucking up. They keep doing what Adam and Eve did. God says, everything's brilliant. Trust me. Just trust that I will sort it out for you. All you have to do is put your faith in me. Where does that sound similar? Put your faith in me and I will give you riches. I will give you everything that you deserve as a people. And they just keep complaining, oh, we want to go back to Egypt. It was better when we were slaves. Oh, we've been traveling for so long. There's no God. And Moses keeps telling them, would you shut the fuck up? Just trust God. I trust God. And he goes up to the top of Mount Sinai, and they have the 10 Commandments where God's like, cool, I'm going to give you these stones, and they're going to have things on the 10 Commandments. And one of them is that you're not going to worship false idols. And while he's up there with Moses, God's like, right, you got to do this one, and you got to do this. You know they're down there doing it right now. And these little bastards down there making a cow going, we just thought we'd make a cow. It's a golden cow. We're going to worship it. Why do you look so angry? And Moses is like, I'm so sorry, God. I can't fucking take these guys anywhere. Stop worshipping false idols. It's literally on the fucking stone. And the Israelites are like, oh, fuck, sorry. And they keep fucking up. But for some reason, God is like, no, I'm not going to put these fucking dickheads. I'm going to keep going with them because I'm going to take you to the promised land. You are the promised people. And eventually, after 40 years, Moses carks it. What a plot twist. And taking over from him is a man called Joshua. And Joshua is the man who's actually going to lead the Israelites to the promised land, to the land of Canaan, which is already occupied by, unsurprisingly, Canaanites. And the Canaanites are proper dickheads, right? They inhabit Jericho. Jericho, which by this time now has 2 walls around it. I think it's about a mile in diameter to go all the way around. And inside the walls of Jericho, in the city of Jericho, there is temple prostitution. There is child sacrifice. They're doing fucking blow off each other's erections. The Canaanites are into some dark shit. And God's already given up on the Canaanites. He's given them opportunities before. But as the nation of people led by Joshua arrive at Jericho, unsurprisingly, they go, what the fuck are we meant to do here? And God says, listen, you know I was telling you to put your faith in me? Yeah, do it now. All you have to do is fucking listen to me. And I'm going to show you something incredible. Now, every day, I want you for 6 days to march around the city. And don't you say a fucking word. All I want is the priests to blow their, I think it's ram's horn trumpets, and carry along the Ark of the Covenant behind them. The Ark of the Covenant that they've carried with them across the wilderness that contains, allegedly, the tablets that have on the 10 Commandments. And it probably has some, I don't know, some Lucozade in there, and maybe, I don't know, a ham sandwich. No, Jews. Beef sandwich? Some sandwiches, I imagine, because it's been quite a journey. So they're carrying the Ark of the Covenant now, and they're blowing their things. And it's psychological warfare. It really is like a weird thing. If you're the Canaanites inside Jericho, and you see a whole nation of people, lots of people, by the way, a nation of people walking around your city over and over again, what are they doing? Got to imagine them there with their spears going, Steve, this isn't normal, is it? It's a weird time to be a Canaanite. I tried to nod then, it didn't work. So the Israelites march around for 6 days in silence, apart from these horns. And then God said, on the 7th day, I want you to march around the city. And then on my mark, you all scream all at once. And those walls of Jericho will come tumbling down. And indeed, that's what happens. Joshua leads them round the city of Jericho. They blow the trumpets, they scream, and the walls come tumbling down, essentially making a ramp for them to climb into the city. Hundreds of thousands of people coming in, and they kill everyone, and they leave all of the grain, and they leave it untouched. And they don't kill everyone. They leave one prostitute called Rahab, who has housed a couple of spies that were sent in earlier to look like Canaanites. And she is saved by tying a red ribbon on the outside of a house. It's the only thing that is left. God only wants precious metals to be taken away. So they take precious metals, and indeed, then they move on. The Israelites, after having taken Jericho, move on to the promised land of Canaan. But to link this back to Sleep Token for a moment, I can understand why one can interpret that the walls of Jericho should be such a significant part when we're talking about a relationship building up, or potentially walls. We often talk about walls around our heart, walls around our emotions. Walls are something that we do try to, quote unquote, break down. But as the lyrics later on profess in this song, with my hands are not worthy, this doesn't really feel like this is a takeover of anyone from either side. In fact, we've just gone through a terribly traumatic thing in Nazareth, and the start of this song is almost comforting. I believe at the beginning of this song that it is Sleep talking down to Vessel, almost soothing them after something terrible has happened, saying, no, it's what you did was terrible, but you did it for me. And now I want you to walk in my footsteps. If you trust me, your God, I will give you everything. If you trust me and give yourself into me and don't dispute what I say, then I will break down walls for you. I will help you ascend. Again, from a Jungian perspective, that can possibly be construed as I will help you find your essential self, but you have to give in. That is why that in the book of Joshua, it is written that when the Israelites gave in to their God, when they followed him wholeheartedly, fucking walls, a whole settlement fell to the ground, allegedly. And I say allegedly because there is a second part to this, and in my opinion, a part that I think has more significance with the title and the reference of this song to the lyrics and to where we are in the story. And it isn't the walls of Jericho, it's the Tower of Jericho. Strap in, folks. History lesson number 2. Right, so in order to get context for the Tower of Jericho, we have to go all the way back to the Ice Age. So the last Ice Age happened between 115,000 BC and 10,000 BC. And then in 10,000 BC, hunter-gatherers, people who were just scattered all around the place, would go and look for places that had natural springs. Jericho, with its proximity to the Dead Sea and being so close to the Fertile Crescent, has within its walls, or within whatever walls were built over it over time, it has a natural spring in there. It is self-sufficient. All of these hunter-gatherers, different faiths, different religions, different languages, were all coming together around this area at the edge of the Fertile Crescent. And it is from here that I want to take a slightly more archaeological look at this. At the beginning of the 20th century, an archaeologist called John Garstang allegedly found the walls of Jericho, and he confirmed that it must be true, that this confirms the Bible stories to be true, and it was roundly kind of denied, or at least denounced, by a lot of the historical and archaeological community. There wasn't enough evidence really to make a biblical connection. So then, in 1952, Kathleen Kenyon, the daughter of the director of the British Museum and a credible archaeologist in her own right, she moved in and started stratigraphic excavation, a less destructive form of excavation in Jericho. And in this excavation, she found something quite incredible: the Tower of Jericho. Through various archaeological excavations, she worked out that not only was Jericho settled pretty much the beginning of us coming out of the Ice Age. 11,000 years ago, settlements started here. This is why we refer to Jericho as one of the first cities, because although it was indeed one of the first walled cities that we know about in existence, but people settled around oases. Water coming out of the ground. In her excavations, she realized that this tower was built about the time of the Neolithic Revolution, about 8,300 BC to 7,800 BC. Now, the reason why this is so incredible is there isn't a huge amount of reasoning why they would have built this tower. And also, we are before pottery here. We're before things being written down. These are hunter-gatherers who have just come together and built a society, and somehow they managed to build a fucking tower. This tower was 9 meters wide, 8.5 meters high. It had an internal staircase. They estimate it would have taken the people at that time in history 11,000 days to build this, which would have taken planning. It would have taken community. It would have taken a society to build this. This is one of the first examples of societal architecture, of communal architecture, planning had to go into this. They didn't all just go, well, we're just going to throw a load of stones down and see what happens. This was planned. There was a reason behind this. And one of the reasons is, if you just look at the word Jericho, in Canaanite it's Yarek, who is the god of the moon. That this place was built, this tower was built so that they could worship a god And we know how important lunar cycles, how anything lunar is that important to Sleep Token. They've released records on black moons, on wolf moons, on full moons. They released Alkaline when it was half black and half white, because she's not either day or night, not acid nor alkaline. When you approach Jericho, there is a roundabout that has an inscription on there that says Jericho, City of the Moon. So we've been to Calcutta, we've dealt with the darkness there, we've had the traumatic experience that happens in Nazareth, and now we have given ourselves entirely to the moon, to the god. We as a society, imagine that, 11,000 years ago, 11,000 years ago, a society of people who had never worked together before, who possibly couldn't even communicate properly. They spent 11,000 days building a tower so they could be closer to their god. Tale as old as time. Us giving in to the gods. Us worshipping the gods. Worship. That's what this is all about, right? But as far as the song goes, I will be 100% honest with you. The first time I listened to Jericho, I didn't really like it. I didn't like it because I didn't understand the jaunty electric piano at the beginning. I didn't understand the chronology, the story of where we are. But we've just left Nazareth. Of course, I'll put a thing up there if you want to watch the video about... Well, there's 2 videos about Nazareth. Because of course there are, because I'm a yapper. But I now think I understand the song a little bit better, in that this, after that traumatic experience, after what maybe... Vessel has done by removing, just like the Israelites did, he has removed the previous vessel. I believe that Sleep has realized that they have potentially broken the bow, and now they need to repair it. They need to make sure that their congregation, that their worshipper, that their vessel is still invested in them, and so they need to remind them of what they are able to give them. And that, my friends, I think, is where the lyrical connotations in Jericho lead. And let's remember, I could be talking absolute shit. So, 2017, the final song from EP 2 by Sleep Token. This is Jericho. Can't believe I didn't like this the first time I heard it. It's so calming after what we've just come out of Nazareth. Incredibly calming. It's a really clipped. It's really far back, and it's not up front in the mix. Harmonies are so thick. Alrighty. Let's stop there for a second and let's talk about these lyrics. So, these fucking lyrics are amazing. Tread ancient water salt like I. What is the first fucking thing you think about when you think about somebody treading water? Jesus. Jesus walked on water. A deity, a god, a man who was 100% man, but also 100% divine as well. Okay? So tread. That's a tread, comma. The idea that it's like a command. Tread. Do it. You can. Tread. Ancient water salt. Like I. Or rather, you can tread ancient water salt like I do. Because I'm a god. And if you listen to me, God, Moses, Adam, Eve, if you listen to me and don't break the commandments, you can be godly like I am. So, tread ancient water salt like I, like a god. You will be able to. But hear the way it's presented. It's so good. Listen to the way this is sung. No vibrato. And it's almost the melody against the piano line. The piano line on its own, I understand why I didn't really get this when I first listened to it, because the piano line as it exists on its own is not jarring, but it's jazzy. And with it being jazzy, when the melody comes in, it sits against it, and all of a sudden you go, oh, that's where our melody is structured. And the way it's presented, the vocal performance, is so delicate. It's like, what's a fucking example? Imagine, like, I don't know if anybody watches boxing, UFC, fighting, whatever. You know, after somebody's just been through a big, and they're all fucked up and they're lying there, and you can imagine, like, fucking Rocky's wife sat there stroking his hair, and that's what it feels like. It feels like a lullaby. It feels like it has an air of comfort to it. Oh, you've just been through something terrible, but I know you had to do that. Now I'm going to comfort you by telling you what your reward can be. Worship me. We're back to fucking Labyrinth again.
Just let me rule you, and you can have everything that you want.
And what is even more beautiful is, I think, that the melody choice on sink, comma, down like precious stones, down like precious. We go higher as the idea of sinking comes in, because you can be the most precious thing in the world. Like it says there, tread ancient water salt like I, be godly, or sink down like precious stones. No matter how precious you are, no matter how important you think you are, no matter how much you are worth in the human world, you will sink, because a stone sinks, no matter how precious it is. That is further back in the mix, and it's got different reverbs on it, and I think it's double or triple tracked as well. So in my opinion, lore-wise right now, we're hearing the voice of sleep saying, like I've said, you can be a god, stick with me, stick with me, kid, I'll see you all right. That's basically what we're getting at the beginning of this. I know you've had a rough time, but remember what I can do for you. And then the vocal production completely changes, and we move, in my opinion, like I said, I think a lot of Sleep Token songs are duets. I think there is much more Vessel speaking to Sleep and vice versa than perhaps at first listen we give it credit for, because one would think, based on this, that like in the interviews, I am a vessel and I worship a god called Sleep and I want to tell everybody about it. You would presume that these songs are all from the perspective of the vessel, the character. I just don't believe they are. Change in the production, whether it be George Lever on these first two EPs, or when it changes in fucking even in Arcadia, when we get more and more. There's so many changes. There's a lot of time to talk about this, guys. But those little production changes, I think, are notes to us who are trying to decipher this story, trying to understand the lore of Vessel and Sleep.
until I wake. I
Really up front.
dine on golden concerts until
I use the term splitting the headphones when something's right up front in the mix, that you bring it all down. Sorry, just apologise to the fan. What the fuck am I doing? The vocals have gone from being sat back in the mix and being quite dreamy and even with, I think some of the tone rolled off it as well. And then all of a sudden it's full, it's like trebly, and it hits us. Until I wake, I dine on old encounters. The use of the word dine is so fucking lovely here. Until I wake, I dine on old encounters. Now, you can eat, you can feed, and you can dine. Which one of those feels more grandiose to you? Because I think when one goes to we can even use the word fine, a fine dining experience. When one dines, gosh, that's rather upmarket. That's rather special. When one dines, we eat every day because we have to, but we dine in special occasions, meaning that when one uses the phrase "I dine on old encounters," oh gosh, it's gluttonous. It's Henry VIII. It's you're dining on it. That means that there is care that's gone into this. This was a special moment, and until I wake, until I come back to consciousness in the dream world, in the world of sleep, I dine on old encounters. The character, in my opinion, the character Vessel saying, gosh, these moments that we've had together, they meant so much to me. They were so powerful. They were dining experiences. They were 5-star. Until I come out of unconsciousness, I will sit here in this world and I will dine on old encounters. I think that's a really beautiful use of the English language.
you taste like new flesh.
The harmonies are so
You
rich.
taste like new flesh.
Okay. Before we get too far, again, the use of the choice of the English language here. You taste like new flesh, not new skin. All right. So flesh, when one talks about flesh, it conjures up something different in our mind's eye. Flesh. We in a lot of like modern media from the 1900s, there are quite often the tearing of flesh that's used a lot in modern English writing. So flesh becomes something. Skin. We talk about skin every day. We've got a tan. Oh, hasn't she got lovely skin? Skin. Flesh. You don't say to somebody, haven't you got lovely flesh? That'd be mental, because flesh, even the way we say it with that SH sound at the end, flesh is an interesting word. It conjures up a whole load of stuff that I don't even need to explain to you right now. You're going, yeah, we have flesh. When I think about flesh, you think about flesh of an animal, the tearing of flesh, new flesh. Now, new flesh could be a couple of different things. We've often spoken about. I don't think I need to give a content warning at this point, but we've spoken about flesh, scarring, scar tissue. Flesh and scar tissue are two different things. This isn't new scarring. This is new flesh, and this is somebody telling you that you taste like new flesh. That conjures up the idea, just to me, and I'll put it to you, that while our character, our lead actor in this, Vessel, is asleep, that sleep is dining on them, for want of a better term. We've not gone full vor at this point, but you taste by biting, by eating. Or sometimes you can taste just by what arrives on your lips, the sweat of a partner in the heat of battle, for want of a better term. And we're going to get to those lyrics in a moment that talk almost directly about that. But you taste like new flesh. It's not skin, it's flesh. You taste like new flesh is a phenomenal lyric. And, of course, it leads itself to the idea of rebirth, or birth, even. The fact that something has happened, an experience has happened, a traumatic experience has happened, potentially when we talk about Nazareth, and now, oh, you've got your new flesh. Now you are becoming something new. Now you are worthy of me, potentially.
You taste like new flesh. Say my name again.
The vocal delivery on that is fucking brilliant. You can't tell me that it doesn't feel like... It's weird. I don't know. The character, whomever, whatever's in your mind's eye right now of these two people in this room, one of them asleep, one of them looking over them, like consoling them after they're exhausted, after they've fought, after they've committed atrocities, whatever it is, the idea of them going, say my name again, like there is a euphoria to it. It isn't aggressive at this point. It's say my name again, because when you say my name, I become whole. And maybe that's the God. Maybe that is the God that by worshipping me, you help me exist. By saying my name again, by please tell everyone. I want you to spread the word of me. But as so often is in the Sleep Token lyrics, we will experience, particularly in Sundowning and This Place Will Become Your Tomb, we'll experience lyrics where Vessel, or the author in this case, sometimes does want to spread it and gets frustrated that they can only spread it in sleep, that then they're unacknowledged in the daytime. Well, I'm acknowledging you and you're acknowledging, I'm acknowledging you and you're not acknowledging me. So at this point, we are in dreamy, lovely sleepy land. And this is the God speaking to the vessel, in my opinion, saying, say my name again. Because when you do, gosh, it's like they're building up, I don't fucking know, like points, like their stock raises. Every time you say my name, I get bigger, I get stronger. The more you worship, the stronger I become. Oh shit! No, I need to tell you about this. Oh, look, I've done some mad research. You're gonna like this one. So, when this, oh fuck, I've done it wrong. Hang on. When this comes in, with the drums, just after the, let's play it. The drum, I think it's it's a tom, a fucking kick. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a percussive element to it as well. Listen.
Until I wake,
Do you hear like a tambourine almost moving alongside with the beat of it? Let me just play that again. So when it comes in, because if this is true, fucking.
until I wake,
Yeah, it's like a floor. It's a floor tom. There's also like a rattle, a shake in there. You're going to like this one. This, my friends, is a sistrum. It is a rattle or a tambourine of sorts that was used by the ancient Egyptians in order to attract the attention of the goddess of love, Hathor. And now, I'm obviously not saying that this is definitely a sistrum on the record, but this is a sacred instrument. This was used to attract the attention of the gods, and indeed to ward off some that they didn't want as well. There's lots of cat designs on a lot of these as well, because it used to be used to worship the goddess Bastet. But the sound that one of these makes is exactly like a tambourine. It's not a tuned instrument, it is a percussion instrument. It's to be shaken during ceremonies, and that I think, and it's probably just a fucking tambourine, guys, but I'm not surprised by anything. And if I know this, then the author, the man behind the mask, knows this, so I can't rule it out.
until I wake, I
hope it is. I really hope it is. Just because that's fucking cool.
You taste like new flesh.
Again, this is very patient as well.
Taste like new flesh.
I definitely wouldn't have been able to nail those harmonies first time as well. There's so many.
Say my name again.
It feels a little bit like Sleep's throwing his head back and say my name again, and oh, it just makes me feel so fantastic.
Secrets in the sweat, like I swallow years beneath this bed.
All right, hang on. So fold, comma, secrets in the sweat, like I do. I like the use as well of like I, because there's going to be a few instances in the future of lyrics in Sleep Token where Vessel uses I am. Now, in the book of Exodus, that's rather how God refers to himself. I am. And there are instances in Sundowning, I believe, and very prominently the very end of, or at least the end of at this point, even in Arcadia, because we don't know what the fuck's still going on with that whole the battle continues thing, right? I will be what I am. And I've spoken about it on, I did a video on it already, but it is something that fascinates me. That idea that God is what he is. I am. It's not, I am what I am. It's just I am. I'm fucking God. I am. I am the beginning. I am the end. I am everything. As a God, I am timeless. I am energy. I cannot be destroyed. I am. I exist. Therefore, you exist. So fold secrets in the sweat like I. Like I. Oh, it's so grandiose. Fold. Folds of skin. The folding of bodies together. The beast with two backs. Fold secrets in the sweat. But secrets. Secrets between you and I. Secrets from Nazareth, perhaps. Fold secrets in the sweat. When our bodies come together. When we heat up as two bodies coming together. Fold the secrets in the sweat. Like I do. Because I'm a god, and gods can do what they want. And indeed, when we do think back to, in particular, Greek mythology with gods, what were the Greeks doing all the time? They were just humping. So fold secrets in the sweat, like I, and swallow years beneath this bed. Swallow is consumption. You're going to ingest something. There are obviously, of course, there are you can imagine the connotations that come along with the word swallow. We're all grown-ups here, and if you're not, go away. But swallow years beneath this bed. I'm going to be honest, guys. If you want to talk about it in the comments, it's one of the lyrics that confuses me the most in all of Sleep Token, because we spoke about the labyrinth bed in Thread the Needle. And the idea of a labyrinth bed, that a labyrinth isn't a maze, that it brings you to somewhere very specific. So going and giving yourself into this labyrinth bed is the coming together of finding where you need to be. But swallow years beneath this bed. What years? Has this been going on for a period of time beforehand? Again, if we're going to look from the author's perspective, he could be talking about a relationship that up till this point has been going on for a while. That will swallow years, but not in this bed, not into this bed, not within this bed, beneath this bed. But I thought monsters are under our beds, right? So why is it not within the bed? Swallow years beneath this bed. It's a very, very interesting lyric, and I may have got it all wrong. So, answers on a postcard in the comments. Weird.
Swallow his beneath this bed.
Ah, it's so good. He's just squeaked that out. Yes, beneath. I can't do what, because I have a different range. I'm a tenor. I don't think he is. I think he's high baritone with amazing falsetto and mixed voice. So the idea that yes, I would have to go yes, beneath. I'd have to go. Oh, it's horrible because I have to go into my mixed voice. But he squeaks out that into the falsetto, and it makes us feel a certain way as well, because we go years beneath this bed. We have peaks and troughs, and that's a wonderful thing about so much of Vessel's melodic construction with the melodies of the vocal lines, is that they're so often not what one would expect. Because we know nobody calling them a pop band, nobody calling them a metal band, nobody calling them like any fucking genre. But the fact that it's Buckley again. It's Jeff Buckley. It's those little beautiful melodic affectations that make you feel a way, irrespective of the lyrics. It's astounding songwriting. It's a bit more personality and humanity in this vocal line. It's about to get real human.
Something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves. You take your leave.
Fuck off. Right, listen. I did a TikTok about this months ago about what's one of your favorite moments. I think this is one of my favorite moments in all of Sleep Token. Okay, this little there's something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves. You take your leave. Are you like we're talking what? Just fuck off. There's a little bit more push into this as well, so much so that he very, very nearly goes out of tune. This is long before we get into the digitalization of Vessel's voice in some of the later albums, but that is always by design as well. The idea that when we use tuning elements, when we try and make it sound a little bit more robotic, a little bit more digital, when Vessel talks about he has to make himself more digital to battle against potentially the unnaturalness of the gods. But listen to the little push.
Something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves.
That's what it is. Something in the way you lay, enough to... So he runs the line, enough to make the dead switch graves. We'll get back to the lyrical stuff in a moment. There's something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves. You take your leave. He runs, enough to make the dead switch graves. You... And it runs through. And because of that, I honestly believe this is one of those takes that you do in a studio. And forgive me, author, man behind the mask, if this is complete bollocks. But this is how I think it happened. That wasn't the best take. That wasn't, but it was the most real take. Because you can hear just as he dovetails the lines together, there's just maybe just not enough support, diaphragmatic support, and breath support there. And so it nearly veers out of tune, and what it does is it makes it sound so desperate. It's fucking brilliant. I love when magic like this happens in the studio, and maybe sometimes not by design. that take nearly goes out of tune. There's desperation in there, and it's fucking brilliant. This is what music should be. Stop auto-tuning yourselves to buggery, you fucking maniacs.
You taste like milk.
Oh, sorry. The lyrics. I should have fucking spoken about the lyrics. My bad. Something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves. Because as a god, you are neither alive nor dead. You are energy. You cannot be destroyed. Obviously, there are numerous instances of mythologies talking about where gods have been killed or whatever. But we are to believe in our society, in the way that we perceive gods, that they are energy, that they cannot be destroyed. So often we talk about memento moris, or rather I talk about memento moris when it comes to even in Arcadia, because et in Arcadia ego, even in Arcadia there am I, there is death, I will follow you forever. Sleep is a reminder that death will come for us all. So with the idea that sleep is able to say to Vessel, gosh, I'd switch places. If I could bring myself back to life, if I could bring myself to the daytime, if I could bring myself into the light, I love you as much as you love me. But that would involve the dead switching graves, and I don't think a god can do that. I think it's one of those fucking film situations where one has to make oneself mortal to live with the partner of choice. Again, we've seen that numerous times in modern media with angels and people. So this idea that enough to make the dead switch graves. You are so beautiful when you're asleep. You are so there's something in the way you are when you lay down like that I want to fucking, I'd trade places with a mortal just to lay with you. And then you take your leave. Now, this is a funny one, because you take your leave. Up till this point, I would have assumed that was Sleep taking their leave once the Vessel, the character, wakes up. So Vessel wakes up and, saying, I wake up saying your name, but you're not there. But in this instance, is it potentially that Sleep misses the Vessel when they're awake? You take your leave. You take your leave as well. When one takes leave, I think of I've done it again. I think of the army. When you're on leave, that's twice. That's the third time in total. Shut up. When one is on leave, it means that one is away from one's responsibilities, one's job. So when you take your leave, I take my leave, also has a very grandiose aspect to it as well. It's a little bit Shakespearean or Brechtian, perhaps. Sir, I will take my leave. Very, very pompous, very big, isn't it? There's something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves, and this is what I feel like's missing here, but you take your leave. Oh, I would commit to you, but you don't. You don't. Every time. Don't lie to me. I don't think that you can give me, the god, everything that I require from the Vessel at this point. Just my take. I think that's how that makes me feel, especially with the desperation in the vocal performance. The dead switch graves, you take your leave. Run out of breath. Brilliant. Music's fucking brilliant. Passing chord. A little change there musically.
My hands are not worthy.
My favourite part of this song, now, having listened to this a couple of times, is the fact that Vessel sings this first "my hands are not worthy" almost in his accent, and indeed with a V sound on so MLE, Modern London English. It's what most Americans think that all English people speak like. It's bruv, bottle of water, all that stuff. But worthy. My hands are not worthy. That's like old Cockney, I guess. My hands are not worthy. I don't know. When you're not presenting yourself, when you're not doing a version of yourself, like, for example, I'm from Newcastle, so naturally I talk like this, but I don't talk like this when I'm talking to you because, you know, I had a beaten out of me in drama school, and I now have a very general RP accent that sometimes, when I've had a drink, disappears. But this first, my hands are not worthy. It's worthy. So one of the things I love about this vocal performance is that it's not entirely RP. In fact, there are a bunch of times that Vessel, the author, the man behind the mask, in his vocal performance will use what I call like mid-Atlantic, transatlantic verbiage or vocal delivery, rather, where it isn't necessarily quite British and it isn't necessarily quite American. It's like, you know, we say path, or at least down south they do. I say path like Americans, but let's not get into that. We say bath, for example. Down south, you say bath. We say aluminium. You guys are also here. I joke, I jest.
My hands are
It's lovely and soft.
not worthy.
Lovely little Britishism. It's much more fun. So, the way this has been produced, it's like we're entering a dream state. The repetition is religion. It is worship. Do you know what it feels like? Sorry, I'm going to go back. I'm going to enjoy that drop again. It feels like we are at the cusp. You know when you watch somebody like these they terrify me, these videos of like people diving into cliffs, where they diving off cliffs into the water, and they'll have like a drone that goes over the top of them, and you see them in that point where you're just like, oh, or people who do skydiving, whatever, and the moment that they let go. That's what this drop feels like. It feels like we have hit water, and like water has burst around us, and it's not heavy. It's like all encompassing. It's
My hands are not worthy.
we've got to this state now. We're back to thread the needle. My hands are not worthy. The vessel is so besotted into sleep at this point. They've become so engaged with it that whatever thing they've done, whatever happened in Nazareth, now they are back to going, my hands are not worthy. Fuck, I love you so much. I want to worship you. You are everything that I need. Doesn't matter. I'll give everything to you. You know, we've heard, don't lie to me. We've seen trauma or heard trauma happen in Nazareth, and now it's say my name again, say my name, tell everybody my fucking name. I want you to scream it from the rooftops. Gosh, you are filling me up as a vessel. I am pouring you into me as a god. I become bigger and bigger, and the vessel underneath them going, my hands are not worthy. As you get bigger, as you get stronger, as I feed into this, as we ritualize this, as it becomes more worship, my hands are not worthy. Until I wake, I dine on old encounters, because in sleep, that's where we live. The shadow, the ego and the shadow together in the unconsciousness, coming together, a battle perhaps to find one's essential self, as Jungian psychology would lead us to that conclusion. But then we get this drop. It just feels like, and water's going to be such a prominent theme coming up. gets bigger. Those cymbals are fucking incredible. I think he's playing a 12 against an 8 or a 4. That. Give me a minute. So yeah, I can't even fucking play it right at 2 separate times. But it's that the syncopation of the 12 across the 8 or the 4. Like, that's phenomenal. Like, I know that at this point as well, EP2 was written by both Vessel and 2 or Vessel 2. I think some of the listings are even just saying Sleep Token, but from EP2 it is the team of Vessel and 2. And then we get this dreamy outro. It's very direct, coming out of the breakdown. Then it just starts to become dreamy as we start to go back. What a phenomenal song. So, we have reached the end of EP2, which means 6 songs down. Next up is Jaws, and then after that we've got another single, and then we're into Sundowning, and then we've got also there's a bunch of live stuff, there's some Jeff Buckley stuff, there's some singles, some covers, there's a lot, there's a lot for us to get through. So we are now into the depths, the bread and butter of the Sleep Token discography. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined me on this journey to go through this with this incredible band. I love learning about it as a producer, fucking performance coach, songwriter, whatever. I've learned so much from listening to this, but then analyzing it and then talking about it, because I've like, fucking, do you know how much I've learned about religion and modern history? Isn't it nice to find a band that you can really get your teeth into? And this is rather the Sleep Token effect, isn't it? It's a bit difficult to listen to other bands after you've been listening to Sleep Token. But anyway, look, thank you so much for everybody who has supported me on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who has watched these videos and continues to support me on screen now on my members over on my Ko-fi page. I still, I know it. I cannot quite wrap my head around it. But it's nice to have found a tribe of people who like love art and music, and we have our private Discord as well. It's a fucking incredible place to be, and you can get access to that if you want to become a member. But listen, free range human, do what you want. I'm not gonna you do what you want. I appreciate it. I do, like, I really 100%, gosh, I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm big on people doing what they want to do. I'm not gonna beg you. Thank you. If you want to put a like, if it doesn't, like, and it doesn't have to cost you anything as well. Like, a like and a subscribe on here is brilliant. Thank you. If you want to do that, if you want to see, more interpretations in the future. I am also wearing the prototype of our first T-shirt. Now, loads of people have been asking for merchandise. Now, I feel in rather a privileged position to have people who want to be members on my Ko-fi page, people who want to follow me on YouTube, subscribe, watch the videos. I think that's a privilege, and I know a lot of people have been asking for merchandise, and that's lovely. But if I'm going to do it, and I will make merch like that might make me a few bob, which is great. I'm not fucking against that. But if we're going to do it, and for this first one, I want it to be this one. This is the Empathy is Power T-shirt, which has rather become a commonly used phrase amongst people on here, people on Discord, and I think empathy is power. I think for a long time it was rather viewed as a weakness, and I don't think it is. I think particularly now more than ever we need fucking empathy. So because I consider this a privilege, all of the people don't know I've worked with audio description, live commentary for years. I think sport and entertainment should be for everyone, and also people who've seen Artie on all the live streams. Oh yeah, you can catch me on a live stream, by the way. There's a Twitch thing here. We do those quite a lot, and if you miss them, they go to like the members section on Ko-fi as well, if you remember. So cheers, everyone. I support Guide Dogs for the Blind, training puppies to help humans, building a connection between two different species walking this weird floating rock that we're all on. And the fact that we're able to do that, I think is incredible. So all of the profits, and this isn't on sale yet, just so you know, if you're watching this video, it's not on sale. Unless you're watching in the future, in which case it might be not on sale because I don't sell this. Never mind. In the next couple of weeks, that'll be available to anybody who wants to get it over on my Ko-fi page, whether you're a member, supporter, whether you've never been on Ko-fi or what. It's just a shop. Like, you can go and you can get it there, and all of the profits go to Guide Dogs for the Blind. It's also got Free Range Human on the back of the neck as well, but I forgot to get it printed on this one because I'm a dickhead. So yeah, merchandise is coming. Please support Guide Dogs for the Blind. That'd be fucking amazing. Also, if you want to support me, that'd be fucking amazing too. Sleep Token, we've got next is Jaws. We're on to the singles, folks. We are in the vinegar strokes towards sundowning, and it's going to get really fucking heavy. But gosh, hasn't this been fun so far? I fucking love doing this. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of research. I mean, it's got worse. You think this was bad before? It's all over the shop now. So I've learned a lot about history. I've learned a lot about religion. I'm really enjoying this Sleep Token journey. Thank you to everybody who's been on it as well, and I shall see you next time for, well, it'll be Jaws, won't it? See you next time, folks.